Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on my channel. It is Kevin here, or Kev, whatever you want to call me. And it's a dark and gloomy day, so I apologize for the lighting, but I really just need to record this clip so I can get this video up. It has been a while since my last video has gone up. As you can see, a lot of things changing the background. A lot of stuff going on in my personal life, so I haven't had a lot of chance to make miniatures, but I've really been wanting to get back into miniatures and making things. I've been thinking about it constantly, so I decided it's finally time to work on this bad boy again. And the stuff that's kind of thrown around there, I haven't glued anything down, because I know I've talked about this before, but I don't want to glue anything down until I start aging things and adding in the vines and the moss later. So it's kind of just like all thrown in here. But I wanted to do a bigger piece for this diorama this week. However, I was not able to get the things I need to make it. So that's gonna have to be put off hopefully my next video. That'll hopefully be out soon. I'm really hoping I can make videos a little bit more frequently. I just don't know right now. There's a lot of stuff going on in my personal life. Like I said, a lot is changing. So I don't know when I'll have this video up. Hopefully next video up, but hopefully soon. I decided I'm gonna go ahead and make the throne because that is something that's gonna be kind of iconic, and it's gonna hopefully be iconic when I'm done, and it's gonna stand out at the end. And yeah, I just feel like it's such a, like, when you think about a throne room, it's like the iconic piece of furniture, you know? Like you think like the throne because it's called the throne room. So I think it's time that we finally make that throne. And spoiler alert, I've already made it. You'll get to see it at the end of the video. Everything's all out of whack nowadays and just so much happening behind the scenes. So let's get going. Let's start watching this video. You start watching this video, I'll start editing it, and I'll see you on the other side.
Before I get started telling you about the project and what I'm doing here, I just want to say that I am sick, and I apologize for the way my voice probably sounds. Yeah, it's just, you know, I can't help but be sick. Apparently I just love it so much. But as you can see on the screen here, I have these egg cartons as well as the backing that goes onto like a bookshelf. They give these to you so you can like nail them in and make them more hollow, but more sturdy, but I don't like them. Anyway, I have my little figure here because I know that this throne needs to be 24th scale, and we're gonna get started. Before I really get into the project, another thing I want to talk about is the fact that my upload schedule is kind of all over the place. And sometimes it's due to the fact that I'm sick, kind of like now, and I have been in the past. And sometimes it's just the fact that I do have a full-time job that takes up a lot of my time. And on top of having a full-time job and doing miniatures, I also am a writer. I was previously agented, I hate that word. And, you know, I'm looking for an agent again. And so I don't have a lot of free time. And unfortunately, that sometimes means that I'm making miniatures that I don't have time to make videos of. And in the future, I would like to be more consistent. I was trying to do every other week, but to be honest, sometimes it just doesn't work in my schedule. But I wanted to. Ideally, I would love to upload every week, no matter what I'm doing outside of this, because I do love miniatures and I do love, you know, the little small community I'm growing here, and I like making videos. I really do. And it's just a lot of time and energy that goes into not only making the miniature, but also editing the video. If you make any kind of YouTube video, I'm sure you understand. So it's something that I'm really struggling with is, you know, time management. And I do hope that my uploads become more consistent in the future because, again, I really love making them. YouTube is my favorite social media. And while I do have a larger following, things like TikTok, I don't necessarily prefer TikTok. I do love YouTube. I love it as a platform and as a social media. I watch so much YouTube, and that's, you know, one of the reasons why I wanted to make videos. I actually had another YouTube channel where I followed my writing in the past, and I just really enjoy it. I just wish that sometimes the editing didn't take so long. This video will probably be my quickest video I've ever made, solely on the fact that I only have like a half-hour footage when I normally have like 3 hours. So maybe I can just start making more short videos, but until I have more time so I can put more energy into long videos in the future. It is what it is. So let's go ahead and skip to talking about the miniature. At first, I measured out the shape of the throne, and then as I was cutting it out, I kind of liked the irregular shape of it. I thought it kind of gave it a little Jenny says quoi. Yes, I know that's not how it's pronounced, but I once saw somebody say Jenny says quoi instead of je ne sais quoi, and now I can't help but say it. I thought the throne, though, had an interesting shape. It kind of reminded me of like a Game of Thrones kind of throne where like they have like these big intricate ones, and I just wanted to do something a little different. However, I knew that it was not thick enough for a throne, so I needed to cut out a similar shape to kind of bulk it up. And this is going to look like a mess while I'm making it, like an absolute mess, because it is. But I knew I was going to be covering the entire thing with the egg carton texture to make it look like stone, so I knew that even if it looked a little messy, it was fine. I just needed a sturdy base to get started with, and this is it. No time has passed for you, but
For me, it's been a couple of weeks. I'm no longer sick. Life, like I said at the beginning of this video, has gotten a little chaotic, and there's just a lot of things happening in my personal life that are going to result in a lot of changes. And they're not bad changes, but just, you know, stuff you gotta deal with. And so it's weeks later, but we're jumping back in. I cut out these little strips so that way I could build up the thickness to the throne. And while I'm building this, like I said, it's gonna look like a mess. And it is a mess, but I knew that I was gonna be covering all of it with a stone texture later, so it really didn't matter how nice it looked. I just needed to get the general shape of what the throne was going to look like. I must have been sick when I was making this, or starting to get sick, because besides this little part where I show you where I'm doing the initial first strip of stone texture, I completely forgot to record anything. So we're gonna jump ahead and you're gonna see the full thing. And this is what it looks like. So again, I knew that I was gonna cover up a lot of the issues that I was having, so I wasn't too hard on myself about the initial structure. And the stone doesn't look perfect if you look up close, but that doesn't matter either, because you're gonna paint it. And the back of it is a little weird. It doesn't really necessarily look like how a stone chair is probably carved, but it's gonna have its back to the stained glass window, so I knew that people weren't really gonna see it anyway. Before painting, I made Black Magic Crafts mixture of Mod Podge and black paint, and I went ahead and painted over the whole thing, mostly just to seal it all down, make sure it was all finished, and to make sure this wouldn't fall apart if it ever got wet. I also did this with the actual entire castle room, the walls and the ceiling and everything. I did the same mixture over it because it helps harden it and give it something a little more substantial than just cardboard. Because if the cardboard gets wet, it'll disintegrate, but this now has a layer of a glue on top. And to be honest, when I am painting things, if I don't do this layer first, I notice the actual color of the egg carton underneath sometimes, and this just gives it more depth. It just gives it a certain undertone that I really like. And as you can see here, once it's all dry, it kind of gives it almost like a hard shell, which is what I was going for. It helps protect it, makes it sturdier, and makes the colors deeper. And you can ignore the spots where I missed some color. Now for the throne, I was trying to think realistically in this tiny world. Would they make the throne out of the same stone that they made the castle with? And I figured that makes sense, right? They're gonna use local stone, so the stones would be the same color. Yes, I put that much thought into this. This one little tiny thing. And because of that, I felt okay using the same color paint for the base coat as well as the dry brush. Also, I knew that because it was sitting in front of the stained glass window, which is very colorful, and it's going to be on the rug, which is colorful, even though it's aged, it would still stand out. It wouldn't blend in too much. However, again, I wanted it to be a little realistic. They would use stone from the same region, because that was easiest at the time. I don't always go for accuracy. Some of these things in here are probably very inaccurate, but don't call me out on that, please. Here's what it looks like when it's painted with the base coat of gray. And here I am starting to dry brush. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos, I think I dry brush in almost every video. And if you've seen any of those, you probably already know, but I have a love-hate, mostly hate relationship with dry brushing. And I tried really hard this time to go really, really light, because I know that you can add more, but you can't really take away dry brushing. So I tried to go really, really easy on the dry brushing. And here's what I will say. I do like how it looks in the end. You'll see in a second. But I think part of the reason why I like how it looks in the end is because I like the undercoat that the black Mod Podge gave to it. So maybe I just need to remember to always put a layer of the Mod Podge black paint underneath my dry brushing, or whatever I'm going to dry brush. Here's the final result of the painting of the throne, and to be honest, I really like it. I think I am improving on my dry brushing. I'm not perfect at it, but this is so much better than some of my early dry brushing jobs, and it does look like a little stone piece. The back looks a little wonky still, like I said. It's not perfect, but I'm generally happy with how it turned out. Here I am placing the throne into the throne room, and now it's time for the fun shots where you just get to enjoy how it looks. So that's that. I have my little throne. I am fairly happy with how it turned out. You know, I do think that this project is looking more Dungeons and Dragons kind of miniature than I initially intended it to be. But I was thinking about this, and first of all, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I like Dungeons and Dragons. I played it and I enjoy it. In fact, I would play it more often if I had a group to play it with. But I kind of like that, to be honest, because it still gets to, I still get to like make miniatures that I love, and then, but also people can watch these videos and get inspired to make their own like Dungeons and Dragons type things. You know, it wasn't necessarily what I was going for to begin with. I still love that. So The thing is that this is a very big room, and as you saw from the end clips, this throne does not stand out very much in there. But to be honest, I don't really know what else I could do to make it stand out more. It's supposed to be small in there. These stained glass windows are supposed to be massive, like massive, massive, massive. I'm feeling a little nervous that all of the furniture I'm making looks out of scale compared to the grandeur of the room. However, it's supposed to be 24 scale, and I don't normally make things in that scale because it is trickier to work with, in my opinion. I prefer 12 scale. I knew that if I made this in 12 scale, it would be huge. It would be twice the size of this. I have a lot of mixed feelings about this project. I still love it, obviously, and I do know what I'm gonna do with it once I'm finished. This is warping a little bit, which is driving me nuts, and I'm trying to unwarp it. I do know what I'm gonna do with this. I am gonna do something to the outside of it, but that's gonna have to wait probably a while, even after the interior is done, because like I said, there's just stuff going on, so I don't know when I'm gonna be able to get to that. But I do have an actual plan for what I'm gonna do with this diorama. I do like it. I do like it. I don't want people to think I don't like it. I'm just a little nervous that maybe it's either going in a direction that makes it look out of scale. I've just been working on it for so long that maybe I'm just like, okay, let's wrap this up. Let's move on to the next project. I know that if you've been watching this since the beginning, it has been a very long time, over a year now since I started this project, and I've done other projects in the meantime, but it just feels like it's been a long time. I only have, I think, 3 more videos I need to make to finish up this project, which is like a scary thought, but also very exciting. So hopefully it'll be done soon. Anyway, like I said, I hope my next video will be up soon. I don't know for sure. I'm hoping in the next 2 weeks, just because so much going on that I just, hopefully 2 weeks. Another video will be up. But until then, thank you so much for watching. If you like me or you like miniatures, make sure you hit that subscribe button below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!